There's a proverb by Shlomo HaMelech that says in chapter 6, verse number 6. The Shlomo HaMelech says, Lech el hanemala atzel, re'e drachea v'chacham. Shlomo HaMelech says, go to the ant, you sluggard, meaning you lazy bum, in your own language, see its ways and grow wise. Shlomo HaMelech is trying to give you some guidance. First of all, he says, you're lazy. That's your first problem. So go, since you're lazy, go to the ant and learn from her, watch her, learn from her, and then you become wise as a result. Now there's a couple of questions here. First of all, what's so special about the ant? Why the ant? Why didn't he go lion? King of the jungle?
Yeah, because it provides enough food for the rest of its life on its first day.
Okay. But then there's a complication here.
It keeps providing food more than it needs, and it's always working.
But that's
learn from it because you're lazy.
Okay, but then it creates another complication. What's the other complication? It says, Lech lanemala atzel re'e drachea v'chacham. It says, go to the ant because you're lazy, and then you'll become wise. Now, if you said, go to the ant because you're lazy, and then you'll become ambitious, I understand. I'm going to learn ambition from the ant because I'm lazy. But it's not telling me I'm going to learn ambition from her. It's telling me that I'm going to become wise as a result. Who said I'm stupid to begin with? If you tell me, go to the ant, you fool, and then you'll become wise, I understand. But it's not telling me that. It's telling me, go to the ant because you're lazy, and you'll be wise. What does one thing have to do with the other? So as Sutton was saying, the ant is unique. What's unique? The ant only lives 6 months. How do we know? Chachamim explained to us in the Gemara that anything that does not have bones and ligaments only lives a maximum of 6 months. Maximum of 6 months. But yet, the ant, when the Chachamim spoke to her, because the Chachamim in the Sanhedrin were able to speak the languages of all creatures. 70 languages, not just the language of people. And they spoke to an ant. They said, ant, tell us about your life. What do you do? So I collect. How much do you collect? And so on and so forth. I don't know how to speak to ants yet. We'll get there next week maybe. But I got this from the book though. In the book it says they spoke. And the ant says that it only really needs 1.5 grains of wheat to live its whole life. 6 months. How much does it collect? During the first few hours of its life, it already collects for the rest of its life, but the meaning that for the rest of the 6 months, it never stops working. It's the most ambitious animal in existence. Therefore, the atzel, the lazy, should go learn ambition from her. But then there's a problem. They asked the ant, hold on ant, if you know that your cousin, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, every grandfather until the Moshe Rabbeinu, all of them lived maximum 6 months. Why do you collect enough food for 6,000 years? Like, you know that the amount of food that you collected within the first hour of your life is enough for the rest of your life. Why do you continue collecting food for the next 6 months? And the ant answers the Chachamim saying, maybe Rachmana, maybe the merciful one will grant me a long life. Maybe I'll be like Metushelach or Noach. I'll live 1,000 years, and therefore I'll be ready. I'll have the food ready. So then this creates another complication. What's the complication? The complication is this. On one hand, it seems like it's smart. The ant is prepared, right? It's prepared. It's only going to live 6 months, but maybe just in case Hashem is going to bless it. It's including Hashem in its argument. It has emunah. I don't think this is an atheist ant. This is an ant Bet Midrash I went to. Now this ant says maybe Hashem is going to grant me 1,000 years, 1,200 years like Metushelach. I already have the food ready. But there's a question. Mr. Ant, If HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that's going to give you 1,000 years instead of 6 months, don't you think He'll give you the food for it too? Why is He only going to give you the years but not the food? Why do you have to collect the food before you got the years? So now we have to ask ourselves a question. Sometimes we have a desire from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, Hashem, I want to have kids. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you a kid. And then you say, Hashem, when you give me more money, I'm going to have another kid. Wait, hold on a second. How come you're delaying? Well, you want Hashem to give you before you give? Why do you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you a commandment to have children? For men are obligated to have a boy and a girl at least. But there's a mitzvah to continue having kids after. A person needs to give tzedakah to help Am Yisrael do tshuva. All these types of things are things that we need to do sometimes even before we get paid. But sometimes we work like ants. We believe in only part of the argument. We say we're going to work extra, but we're not going to give it all away yet, because just in case I need it for a rainy day. So we're like half an atheist. This is why Shlomo Melech says, go to the ant, you luggard, you lazy, but be wise. Meaning, go and stop being lazy with your avodat Hashem. Go be ambitious like the ant. Work hard. If you're going to learn, put on tefillin with full kavanah. If you're going to learn Torah with full kavanah. You're going to do mitzvot 100%. But don't be a fool like the ant and overdo it on one thing and live a half a life. Be smarter than the ant. The ant is working to make a lot of money, but doesn't really believe that Hashem is going to provide it. So it's not studying as much, it's not doing as much. You have to be smarter than this ant. You see, the ant, there is a part of it that's very smart. Where the ant, the Gemara says, has, its house is 3 floors. 3 floors. So they asked the ant, how come your house is 3 floors? You know, the hole has 3 floors. So the ant says the first floor is vulnerable to rain. As soon as the rain's going to ruin everything, all the food I have in there. The bottom floor is vulnerable to getting destroyed from, being it's away from air. It's more vulnerable to getting destroyed and rotting. So where I put my real food is I put it in the middle floor. In the middle floor. So the ant has some wisdom. Problem is that it focuses on just making parnasah, but not having any real emunah. The Jew is not supposed to be like the ant in all aspects. He needs to believe that Hashem is going to give him salvation, but have just enough ishtadlut that he allows Hashem to help him and not put everything in their own hands. Now, how does a person put this in practice? First and foremost, like I said, every Jew has to have a set amount of time where they are learning every day. No matter what your schedule is. You have to have a set amount of time that you're learning every day. Men should have twice a day that they're learning at least, morning and night. If that means you have to wake up a little early or you have to go to work a little later, bottom line is you have to make a little bit of time in the morning to get started. Half hour, an hour, 2 hours, depending where your schedule is. If you leave everything to the night, you're already making yourself too vulnerable. The Satan is going to destroy you. By the time you get home, you're going to be exhausted. You're not going to be able to study. By the time you study, it's Tuesday, 2037. You haven't studied in 30 years. It's not going to work out so well. You're making yourself too vulnerable. You have to have a couple of times. I know I fight the same battle, Gabotai. So you have to have a couple of times. Ladies, Baruch Hashem, the Satan doesn't fight you as much for learning Torah, but you have to make sure that you're learning quality Torah, and not just some nice speaker that makes you laugh. A lot of times the ladies like to listen to people that are nice speakers, but they're not advancing in their ideology, they're not advancing in their avodat Hashem. They're listening to the nice speaker, they giggle a little bit, but nothing really changes. She's still imadah, she's still having all the emunah issues she has, she still has anxiety through the roof. Nothing really changes. You have to listen to strong speakers, for men too. You have to listen to strong speakers simply because those are the speakers that are going to move you. If after the end of my shiur you're not moved to and inspired to do something significant in your life, we failed. If all you did is laugh and giggle, we failed. If I wanted to make you laugh and giggle, I'll send you to a comedy show. You know, it's nice to make you laugh and giggle here and there to break up a little bit of the tension, but in reality, you're supposed to be improved version of yourself. If the speaker that you're listening to is not making you into an improved version of yourself, if you're not desiring to become more modest, desiring to have more yirat shamayim, desiring to have more emunah, desiring to do more for Hashem, to pray more, to do more every day, we failed. We have to try harder next time. So you have to make time to learn that Torah. Now, of course, the more kids you have, the more stuff you have, the more difficult it is to learn Torah, but you have to make time. Especially if you're young and you don't have kids yet, or you only have one or two, don't misuse that time. Take advantage of that time, try to learn as much as possible. Trust me when I tell you, you're going to need it to hold you up for all those sleepless nights you're going to have when the kids start requiring more of your time. So you have to make time to learn Torah. 2, you have to start accepting the test that Hashem sends you with love. And I don't mean just say Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, we can have a machine do it. You can just get a button, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. We don't need to do Baruch Hashem. We need to believe Baruch Hashem. Meaning, when the tests come, don't default to complaining. A lot of times problems happen, first thing people do, complain. That's not a default reaction that's desirable by heaven. The default should be, okay, Baruch Hashem, I have to do something better in order to improve the situation. Baruch Hashem that it's happening, something good will come out of this. Baruch Hashem, somehow this is the best. Like, you have to start looking at things from a slightly different perspective and not default to complaining. Both men and women. You have to look at things in such a way where you have to look at it and say, okay, what good can I see in this now? How could I give Hashem kaf zchut? You had a deal set up for Monday morning signing. $100,000 was going to change your life. On Monday morning, instead of getting $100,000, you get a phone call. Yes, appointment's canceled. Why? He is not interested in doing a deal with you anymore. All your plans to build a new house, all your plans to move to a new community, all your plans to buy all types of stuff, in the garbage. You now have to find kaf zchut for Hashem to say why this loss of a deal is good for you. Who wants to go first? Million different reasons of why. 1, the client could be litigious. Meaning you were going to make $100,000, but he's going to sue you for $500,000 2 months later. 2, the money is not kosher. 3, you don't know how to handle money. 4, someone was going to rob you and kill you for the money. And the list can go on and on. 5, if you'd have done this deal, his competition that was going to give you $1 million deal was not going to sign with you. And a million other ways of why this loss is good. And every single trouble that you have throughout your day, you have to start analyzing what good can I get out of this. Give Hashem kaf zchut. 3rd, when good things happen, when a salvation comes, stop just saying Baruch Hashem. Write it down in a little notebook, on your phone or wherever, some place that you have easy access to at all times. So the next time you have emunah problems, you open that little book and you see all the miracles. Just like we see all the miracles on Pesach. Went from slaves to the master. We overcame idolatry over there. We left. Went to the Sea of Reeds. Hashem split the ocean. We got the man. We got Shabbat. We got Torah. We got miracles. We survived the desert for 40 years. Didn't have to change any clothes. Had a river follow us for 40 years. And so on and so forth. That whole story, that should be yours. Write down a few things that happened to you. Oh, today, Baruch Hashem, I didn't have any money to pay the rent, but last minute, customer came in and gave me $2,000, exactly what I need. Okay, not number one. Next day, Baruch Hashem, I made it to the appointment on time, the guy signed the deal. Baruch Hashem, we didn't have kids for 5 years, Shtabach Shemo, I'm pregnant. Baruch Hashem, my wife's about to deliver. Baruch Hashem, I got a new job. Baruch Hashem, my shoes fit. Baruch Hashem, my child is the best in class, he didn't know how to spell last year. And so on and so forth. Good stuff happens, write it down. Why? So when the Satan from the Emunah department shows up, he says, hey, stop right there. I got proof Hashem is real. I got proof Hashem is real. Go somewhere else. You have to write it down. Why? Because sometimes your memory is not going to serve you right. You're going to forget. Especially when you need to. All of this, Rabotai, requires effort. Just like remembering that there is no such thing as zero. There's always one. There's no more than one. There's no less than one. When a person truly understands this, he's going to exert the effort that's needed in order to get that into their head, not just in the back of their mind, but in the front of their mind. And when things happen, good or bad, they'll know how to deal with it. But if you wait for the good and bad to already happen, you're already too late. And then you already have stress. And then you already don't know what to do. And then you're already in a situation where you are like, not sure what's going on. Why am I even doing this? And you start having all of these questions about your emunah, about your belief, about why you're doing what you're doing. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you don't feel like keeping Shabbat, even though it has nothing to do with what happened to your life. Like, you lost the job, but suddenly you don't want to keep Shabbat. Like, what does one thing have to do with the other? Your wife didn't have a kid the way you wanted her to have a kid, and all of a sudden you don't want to eat kosher anymore. What does one thing have to do with the other? Your husband said something nasty to you, and all of a sudden you don't have kids anymore. Like, what does that do to the other? What is the connection here? The connection is that when you don't remind yourself of the good, the Satan will only remind you of the bad. And therefore, your memory bank is going to be full of bad stuff against Hashem. So as soon as something bad happens that pushes you over, the Satan is going to say, you know what? Why are you even following Hashem? Stop keeping Shabbat. Stop keeping Talat Mishpacha. Stop covering your hair. Stop this, stop that, stop. Why? Because look, Hashem has given you only bad. And what about the good? I don't remember the good. I don't remember the good. So you have to be active on this. Because problems are going to come to you whether you're religious or not. The Torah has a goal. And that goal is to teach you how to deal with those problems. Because the problems will come. Torah is there to teach you how to deal with them. That's why I tell you guys constantly about the CD. You think I don't know you know about the CD? You think I don't think you know about this USB? Be'ezrat.org. No, Bemet, you really think I forget? No, it's that I'm constantly trying to remind you that this is the only thing that's going to help you. Constantly listening to these shurim or other shurim that they have. Bottom line is constantly learning. It's the only thing that's going to save you. Constantly. If you don't learn Torah for a day, Hashem leads you for 2. You don't learn for 2, Hashem leads you for 4. That's how it is. Torah tells us, you don't learn for 1 day, Hashem leads you for 2 days. That's why when you come back after like a week, all of a sudden you don't feel like learning. Like, what do you mean? Last week you loved it. 6 months straight you loved it. What happened? How come you don't all of a sudden you don't like it? What happened? You went to a kollel, you went to yeshiva, you were there for 6 years straight, everything was good. You took a vacation for a week, all of a sudden you don't feel like learning anymore. Yeah, I don't know, I lost it. I don't know what happened. Oh, what the Chachamim say about it? Chachamim say, you don't learn for 1 day, Hashem leaves you for 2. What does it mean Hashem leaves you for 2? He's always there. Meaning it's more difficult for you to get started. What? You already put a barrier between you and Hashem continue progressing. Which means that now you put a barrier of 1 day, Hashem continued another day. So now there's a 2-day barrier. It's going to take you 2 days to catch up to where you were 2 days, a day ago. And the longer you go without learning, the more difficult it is going to be for you to go back to learning, and even more difficult it's going to be for you to deal with your problems. Because the problems don't stop. They don't take days off. So this is why these CDs, these USBs, the app, all of these different media that we use is to constantly remind you that you need to learn. Not for me, for you. It's simply a way to teach yourself. Now for me, on the other hand, I teach you know what I do for myself? I give shurim. That's the benefit for me. You happen to be here while I'm learning. But the shiur is for me. Why? This whole shiur is to remind myself of everything I'm telling you. I want to quit 1.5 million times a day. I want to cancel the shiur 500 times a day. But I know I need to learn anyway. So what's the point? Why don't you want to have some company while I'm learning? It's difficult. Satan attacks 1.5 million different problems. If you only know how much suffering I go through, and one day just to have a shiur on shiur night, it's a kriyat yam suf. The split of the ocean was a little easier. But I know I need to learn at some point, so I have to learn. Might as well have some company. So that's what I do. You have to do the same thing for yourself. You have to understand, these shurim, this learning is simply to save yourself. Not that you're, chas v'shalom, someone doesn't learn is going to die. It's simply, you're not going to know how to deal with life. Because that connection to Hashem, that clear understanding and knowledge that there's only one and no such thing as zero, is only going to be there if you are constantly learning. The second you slow down on learning, the second you stop learning altogether, all of a sudden other possibilities appear. 0, 2, 17, 3, all types of other possibilities appear. And there starts the confusion. Do yourself a favor and eliminate the confusion. How? Learn every single day. Strong speakers, people that make you better a version of yourself. And Be'ezrat Hashem, next week, the Chazon Ish will help us also become better versions of ourselves.